Welcome to the Microschools SHOW, your window on the global microschools movement. Whether you're a teacher with a dream to build a school of your own or a parent looking for a school that will suit your amazing kid, you're sure to be inspired by the creativity and innovation of our guests. I'm your host, Dr. Mara Leineberger. The Microschools SHOW was launched to feature guests from all over the globe who have championed personalized learning for students by building a microschool of their own, as well as to spotlight some of the key players in the movement. Today, I'm speaking with Tracey McEntyre, who is owner of LIttle Elm STEAM Academy. Tracey is a retired early childhood educator with over 20 years experience in early childhood education. Her background includes extensive teaching experience with ages 3 to 7, early childhood management, training, and running a STEM enrichment program. Tracey took a break from teaching when she became a mother to Roman, and her career path changed when her son was diagnosed with autism. Tracey started researching ways to create a learning environment that would welcome all children. LIttle Elm STEAM Academy was created because of her love and commitment that all children deserve a meaningful education. Tracey's philosophy is that all children learn and experience differently. Children just need an intimate environment to feel safe and free to be themselves, perfect for exploring, experimenting, inventing, and creating. Welcome to the show, Tracey.
Thank you so much.
So, Tracey, I know this is show number 11. So we've had a variety of people on, but we've not had anybody yet, you're the first, who has a STEAM focus to their microschool. Can you tell people a little bit about what that means, that you're a STEAM Academy?
Yes, so STEAM, there's two versions. So there's STEM, and then there's STEAM. So STEM means science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. We are a STEAM because we add arts into that. And arts meaning we can be cooking, actual arts, so painting, anything that's active is kind of what you can put into that A in the STEAM part of it. So we work on science, we work on technology, engineering, and as you can hear in the background, and mathematics and art. So that's what the STEAM comes in at, and that's what we're all about here. We are a strictly STEM school, meaning that everything that we learn, those core values, the reading, the science, all that we do, we put it together in our STEM. And everything that we learn from that, either we're doing experiments with it, we're creating art with it, but we're always learning at the same time. We're just using those core of the STEM.
What I know about STEM is that it's designed to help kids be exposed to those less well-known or those less I'm having a hard time saying the words today. It's to help expose kids to careers in mathematics and science and technology and engineering, especially girls, right? So your school is using the arts as another mechanism to get kids really interested in the STEM fields from a
Correct.
really early age.
Correct. Yes.
Your learners are pretty young, correct?
Our learners start, my youngest is, well, she's getting ready. Oh my gosh, she's getting ready to be 5 years old in January. So 4.5 to 10 years of age.
So basically you're starting with a kindergarten learner or a pre-K learner, and then you're taking them all the way up through 10 would be like 4th or 5th grade. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Excellent. So you're doing like early childhood plus taking kids up through early elementary ages.
Right. It's really exciting.
STEM subjects so that they're getting a sense of whether or not that might be something that they would be interested in doing as an adult, plus giving them really good foundational skill set.
Absolutely. And it's really fun to, watch them see what they can actually create using STEM. Even with our Legos. So a lot of people just think, oh, okay, Legos are just for playing. Well, we use it for math. We use our Legos for science. We use it for music. So our Legos are actually a really huge part of our learning because I know my kids love using Legos. We incorporate that a lot. So they are learning that, wow, we can just not just play with Legos, we can actually use them to help us count, to help us add things, to use for fractions even. So it's really great seeing them really go outside the box and use what we are using in our classroom, like Legos, to really dive into these different aspects of careers that they could actually have. So,
Yeah, I think a lot of people, I mean, play is there's a lot of evidence that play is valuable all on its own. And yet at the same time, there are ways to actually use the things that kids love and they're interested in to
yes.
teach concepts. I remember there was a young girl I knew who was being homeschooled, and I worked with her one day when her mom was not available. And I said, well, we're going to do some math today. And she said, no, I want to play with my Barbies. And I said, well, bring all your Barbie stuff down. And then she was a kindergartner and we did sorting activities.
Right.
And then I said, let's tell some stories about the Barbie stuff. So we wrote some math problems, and it was, it was engaging her with all of the content that the things that she wanted to be doing. She wanted to
Right.
be the Barbies, but we learned all kinds of amazing mathematical skills of creating math stories, math problems out of sorting Barbie stuff. So
I
I'm
love
guessing
that.
you guys do a lot of that, but maybe not Barbie stuff.
Well, you'd be surprised. I mean, we use whatever, like you said, whatever interests them. And we pull those in because it's that whole thinking in their head. They're like, we can't use this. There's no way we can use this. But you can. So you just have to have, number one, you have to have a real creative mind and kind of delve into them.
Yeah.
And that's where it kind of comes in my classroom. It is one of my main things is getting to know each one of my kids and knowing what their likes are. And then that way I can pull that into our curriculum. So absolutely, use whatever you have.
So in your intro, I told a little bit, and I borrowed that from your website. Tell us a little bit more about what got you to really start Little Elm STEAM Academy.
I mean, it was all about my son, and who is now part of it. I just wanted an environment where it was safe. And for me, safe meaning it was safe for him to just be himself. And he is on the spectrum. He is a very creative, animated kid. And I knew I wanted an environment like that for him. When I started teaching, I actually kind of fell into teaching. It was not what I wanted to do by any means. And once I started teaching, that is how I had my room set up. So my room was never a traditional room whatsoever, even though it was dealing with kids, pre-K kids. I always wanted my classroom to be a free room, to be whoever you wanted to be, and each child was going to learn on that and how they learn and how they absorb information. The same as with my son. And because, number one, he had autism, and number two, because he was such an animated kid, I knew he wasn't going to thrive in a traditional environment. So I pulled him out and homeschooled when he was in third grade, and he wanted to go back, which was okay. He missed his friends. He wanted that environment. But as he got older, I started noticing that it just wasn't matching up for him. And I think he was starting to notice that as well. So I did the research. I was just kind of playing around. Okay, how can I reach my son? And he loved Legos. So I just started Googling things, how to teach your child with Legos, and all these things started popping up. And I did find a book on Legos, and that just kind of took off from there because they started talking about STEM. And so from there, I didn't hear anything about it. And I just started researching, and all these wonderful things started popping up, especially about kids on the spectrum and STEM. And I was like, that's it. How am I going to build this school with STEM, and that it's going to incorporate my child and it's going to be appropriate for him?
It sounds like you wanted to figure out how to give him a really rich, meaningful experience.
Right.
But you also wanted to figure out, how can I stay home and give that to him? Or how can I give that to him and still make a living? Because that's a challenge for so many parents are facing that challenge right now. Their kids are home and they're trying to work at the same time. And I'm seeing more people especially people who are sort of teachers and they're at home and they're trying to tackle everything. And they're thinking, if I could just have a small group of kids in front of me that were a COVID pod, I could do this.
Yes.
And, Definitely the pandemic is creating an interest that we've never seen
I
before.
agree.
However, I hope that the people who are starting things because of the pandemic consider keeping them going afterwards, because this small size is so powerful.
It 100% is. I think now more than ever, my parents in particular are really seeing the benefit from that. I have two of my kids who came from a private pre-K in a large environment, which that was my background. So I had 20 to 30 kids. So I knew where they were coming from, and I knew that I didn't want that ever again, because I knew, honestly, I wasn't touching every one of those kids like I should be. And it is impossible to do. To have that one-on-one with that many kids, it's not going to happen. I mean, it isn't. If we're going to be honest, it's not going to happen. And I knew I didn't want that. So my parents are really starting to see, especially when pandemic hit, how important it was that my numbers are small, and really why I was doing this. And my parents were like, we so appreciate this more than we did before. Before, this was just like, oh, okay, let's just see how this is going. But they are really seeing what it means to have that one-on-one time with a child and getting the most out of that time. So it's a blessing in disguise, unfortunately, but it made my parents really understand and appreciate that. So we're talking and they're just like, okay, what's the future going to look like? You know, when they get really older and they're starting to go into junior high and high school, they're like, what are we going to do? And it's like, well, the more people are starting to understand about the low ratio and what it can really do, we're going to see a lot more changes in our education. I really hope that's going to happen, because even outside of my school, I'm seeing parents notice the difference who are enjoying it. It's not easy when you're a parent and you're working, but if you're having that time to spend with your child and you're seeing the benefits from that one-on-one versus what they would have in a larger environment, parents are really starting to understand that we're not just saying low, ratios for nothing. There is a reason behind that. And I do honestly think this is going to really change. And there's a lot of unfortunate things that have happened with this pandemic, but there's really some positive things that have come out of this, and it is education. And I think it's only going to get better, because we are now seeing what it means for a child to have some one-on-one time, to have kind of a freedom on how they really learn as well. Because you take them out of a huge environment, you start to see a whole new child and a whole new personality that you wouldn't have seen in your classroom full of 20 children. So
well, I mean, as much as we're reading stories about families that are struggling and this isn't working for them because of childcare needs or the demands of having multiple children with multiple online schedules or any number of things, the really highly social child is probably finding this challenge. Not at your school, because they get to still come and be together because you are within the number guidelines for your gatherings. But I'm hearing stories equally of kids who are doing really well at home because there's no bullying. There's no, there's fewer pressures and demands for, homework and things being done on a tight schedule. Yes, they're having to meet and stuff like that, Zoom classes, but the schedule isn't so heavily programmed like it is in our big public schools.
Absolutely.
By the way, I have to tell you, one of your boys, I just love it. He keeps coming back. It's fantastic. It's got his little mask on. God bless him.
It's like I see in the background, like, okay. That's just the life.
What's a typical day like for your kids at Little Team?
We start off because of the age range of our kids. We do start off our morning with a group time, and we kind of plan our day about what we're going to talk about, how we're going to go about the day. Because again of the wide range of ages, each group kind of has their own way of how they're going to plan their day. So my older kids, they kind of have their own little stations where they know, okay, I have A, B, and C I'm going to do on the computer. And so we know that during that time, it's kind of a quieter time for us on the other side. To where we're going to kind of maybe do some one-on-one things, or we have a planned individual work time to where, okay, this is what we're going to do. Here's what you're going to do at this time. You've got your desk, their little mini desk that we have, and we go about doing those assignments. And then we kind of flip-flop, and then we have our brain breaks that we kind of take to kind of wind down. Either sometimes, it's not really winding down for us because we like music, so we like to dance. And so when we know we've been really working hard throughout the day and we just need to unload all of that we've done, we just dance. And then we kind of go about whatever else we're going to need for our day. So it's a structured environment, but it's kind of structured to us, if that makes sense. So another school probably wouldn't do what we do, but it's because I know my kids, and I know that we can have a quiet moment and then kind of go up to a high moment, and then we can go back down without any interruptions. And that's just because I know my kids, and I know that music kind of helps them chill out for a few minutes and get all the crazy wigglies out of them, and then we can hit back into, maybe if we're going into experiments and talking about science. I know that we've gotten all of that out of us, and then we can hit on to another subject. So it can be a structure. It just kind of depends. Like right now we're talking about hibernation. So it's really a heightened time because we're like learning about stuff we haven't discovered before. And we are talking about elephants. We're going to do some experiments on how elephants migrate. So just really hands-on stuff. We just take it day by day, to be honest.
Well, it reminds me so much. Your setup really sounds like the old-time one-room schoolhouse, but with technology and with all of the resources that we have available now. I mean, because you've got learners from age 5 to age 10.
Yes.
So you've got this mix, and you've got it. They have very different needs, and
Absolutely.
You've got the kids to the point where they can do some independent things and work with other ones. But I love the fact that you're incorporating all of this the student into what they're learning. I mean, I bet your kids are super engaged.
They are really, I almost hate saying this, but in the 20 years, I think this group is my best group because they are really in tune to what's going on around them. And what that means is outside of our classroom. They're very aware about what's going on in the world. And I haven't really had that before. So that allows me to really explore with them everything that's going on around us. We've talked about everything from the pandemic to religion to race relations, and they want to know, and they ask those questions. They ask the hardcore questions. And I think this is what makes this group so fun, is because they have those questions. It's nothing that you've had to prompt them with. You give them some information and they're gonna, well, why is that happening right now? I don't think this should happen right now. I think A, B, and C, we should do this. They have those ideas. Even at 4, they have that knowledge of, that doesn't sound right to me.
Yeah. Well, Tracey, as a professional educator and teacher trainer, I will tell you, my guess is that all of our students have always had their own ideas about this stuff, because kids are sponges. They're listening to what, they're seeing what's on the television when their parents are listening. They're listening to their parents have conversations at the dinner table or wherever, in the car.
Yeah.
So they're forming ideas based on the things their parents are talking about, but
Right.
typically has not engaged them and asked them to share those ideas.
That's true.
I would say it's a real testament to you in the way that you work with them, that they feel comfortable and empowered to ask those questions.
Yes.
Then, kudos to you that you are also, then you're working with that. You're not just saying, well, we don't have time for that. We have to hit this curriculum. We have to get this done today. Oh my gosh, that's the beauty of our micro schools, right? You're not on a timeline, are you?
Absolutely not. I mean, if a subject comes up, we talked, I don't even know, we're starting to wind down off of voting because it was just high for them. It was like every day was like, after the election was like, okay, Miss Tracey, what is it now? What are the numbers now? It's like every day everyone's coming in. What are the numbers now, Miss Tracey? Did you check? Okay, let me check. Let me see, you know, okay, they don't have a, you know, we don't have a winner yet. So we pretty much dropped everything that was kind of planned, and we really delved into what was going on in the election. What was the election about? We had our own election. And it was like we were talking about other things. We were talking about Thanksgiving, and all of a sudden that was out the door. It was like, no, we really want to know what's election? Why is everyone so hyped about the election? We took the time to talk about this because it was really something that the kids wanted to learn. So I went with it. I got books, and we really talked about it. We saw videos on it, and it was amazing. And I love doing that. There's so many times we just drop whatever we're doing because a friend has, hey, I saw this on TV. So, you know, why is this? And we just went with it. And I think that's the best way to learn, because if it's in their heads, they want to get it out. Let's get it out. We can make up whatever it is or add it to what you're learning about. So if you're learning about math, turn it into something. That's what we did with the elections. And they were able to understand pictorial books and all of this. And, you know, we did math with it. So there was our math, and that was our math time. So it is the best way for me. And I have so much fun because this group just really takes off with it and knows, like you said, they are comfortable with asking the questions.
I'm sure. Students do you enroll, Tracey? How many if you don't mind us telling us, how many kids do you have with you right now?
We did lose some friends because of the pandemic, which I completely understand. We have 6 now, and you know, it's been great. We still have our waiting list, and we still have parents who are like, you know, don't give up on us. We just want to kind of wait, you know, to see what's going on. Perfectly on. So we haven't either. So I haven't engaged in bringing any new kids on yet either. But
I think it's hard anyway, you know, with things, the numbers being so crazy. I know the people that I work with, none of them are taking anybody in right at the moment, just simply because, you know, they've got a pandemic bubble.
Right.
And they want to maintain that. But they, as soon as things are safe, as soon as a vaccine is available,
right.
that will be good.
Absolutely. Yes. And my parents love it. They're always like, oh, we're so glad you're not taking anybody on. I was like, no. So they feel good. They feel safe. They know that, you know, no, we're not in a rush. We have a wait, and, you know, parents are always checking in with me anyway. So it's good. It's good.
So, what else do you want people to know about Little Elm?
Oh my gosh. You know, we are definitely not, and I tell this when I do tours, we are not for everybody. And when you look for a school, I tell parents to really look, not what everybody else is looking for, but kind of really hone in on what your child needs. And not just the basic needs, but really down to it. Is their personality going to mesh with everybody else? Is their learning type going to be accepted and able to follow through with that? When my parents come through and it's agreed upon with both of us that this is the right environment, I do like an interview with the kids. And I talk to the parents. It's like, be honest with me. What do you see when they're at home? And I tell them what I see here. And I like it small because it's definitely a custom build for my school. Parents are able to kind of walk through and get a feel of the school, but I really let them know this is not a traditional school by any means. I do not test. I do assessments, yes, so I know exactly where my kids are going. So if I know a child will be leaving and transitioning out of public school, I know exactly what to do. So I do have 2 that are going to be doing that next year. And I know exactly what I need to do to get them ready for that. And my parents love that. So, and then I have parents who are very traditional in the sense of, oh, we want them to be A, B, and C. And it's like, well, that's not going to happen here. It's like, yes, is your child going to learn 100%? But it is not traditional by any means, because I want my kids to feel comfortable in where they're at and not feel that they have to compete with James and Jamie, that where they're at is okay, and to enjoy this time. So, are we an awesome school? Absolutely. But we're definitely not for everybody, because we are not a traditional school, and we love to learn, and we love to learn on a spontaneous level. It's like somebody.
Yeah, I would say that's definitely not for everybody.
That's not for everybody. And
for a group of kids. There are a group of kids that's what they want and that's what they need.
Right. Yeah. And there are kids who enjoy and thrive in large environments, and that's also amazing. And I also talk to my kids about that. You know, we're going to be going to an environment that has a larger group of children. So A, B, and C is going to happen. So I like that I'm able to also prepare them for that, because I've been in that environment. So I know what they're going to be expected to do. So it's kind of it's a nice little strange ball that we're in, is that I can prepare them for our larger school, or where they're going to be at now. If they're going to continue on with this, that's amazing. But yeah, I really like that we're a nice custom built kind of school. And
a parent in Texas who thinks, you know, okay, so you're not taking anybody in, and that may be actually a little too small. Have you seen anything else, any other small schools that parents can check into?
I know of Acton. So Acton is based here in Texas. Austin, Texas, I do believe. And they're kind of set up in a micro school type environment, and their sizes kind of differ. So they could be a little bit larger. Larger meaning, I would say no more than 15 kids. And they can range even higher out of elementary school on to high school. So I think that's great, because that way you have a lot of options to where, okay, maybe I can start my child in a smaller setting, maybe like mine, but then I have the option of making sure that they're getting that one-on-one, but they're getting a little bit larger size.
So do you have any idea of, do you think you're going to expand Little Elm STEAM Academy at some point to become, you know, like a full service pre-K?
Definitely moving in that direction. Well, I've been talking to our parents, and next year, if everything goes well, we are hoping to leave my home, which is kind of emotional, but it's definitely needed, because we have a lot of people who are interested in our school. Doesn't mean our ratio is going to be any higher. Our ratios will always stay at 12. But we just need a bigger space, because there's a whole lot of things that, unfortunately, because of pandemic, kind of halted everything. So, and our space just can't take what all the kids are wanting to do. That's another thing as well. But we're hoping to get in a bigger environment, and once I do that, I will probably stop at eighth grade. And I would say in about another year or two, we'll see exactly where the demand is within our school to go higher. But there is need right now for us to go kind of into middle school. So that's where we're going to push for next fall. So we are hoping that we find our school and everything we're set for the fall in our new environment. So that's going to be cool. So yes, it's an inch by inch on what I want to do. I want to take it step by step and just feeling out what people are needing and seeing if we're able to accommodate that need. So it's going to be great. One of my best friends is going to be my kindergarten first grade teacher. And I'm going to do the pre-K, and then we're going to both split and do the older kids. So it's great bringing somebody on, and I can't wait. So the sky is kind of the limit for me. It's just we're going to take our steps and enjoy each journey that we're on. So.
Well, Tracey, I can't believe it, but 30 minutes has already flown by.
Right.
So to all of you who've hung in there with us and you've stuck around to listen to Tracey's full story,
Right.
I encourage you to visit her website at littlesteamacademy.com.
Right.
Thank you for listening to today's show. If you would like to be a guest on the show to talk about your microschool, or to share your work in the microschools movement, please reach out to me at mara@microschoolbuilders.com to set up an interview. And until next time, be well.